Yo, what up? It's Eddie from Tabletop Gaming, and today we're going to do a little bit of throwback. We're going to bring it back to some terrain tutorials. Today I'm going to show you how to make a 4-story terrain little ruin building out of just styrofoam, regular styrofoam. We'll see you in the video. Now really the key and most important ingredient to this whole thing are these little corner pieces. They're styrofoam corner pieces. You can get out of most large appliances like washing machines and stuff when you open the box. I definitely suggest grabbing them when you can. I grab every one of them I can find, and I definitely suggest doing the same thing. And our main goal here is really going to stack them up to make like a 2-story, a 4-story building. Now once we get to this point, we're going to want to start shaping our building, and you can use a knife, but early on right here beginning, we're really just going to be breaking it off. It's not really that big a deal. We're not worried about anything being too perfect. As a matter of fact, we don't want it to be, because this is a ruined building. We do want all the flat edge pieces, the straight pieces that are going to be sitting on the bottom and the sides of the building right now. You don't want all that broken off. You don't want it to be unnaturally straight. This is a ruin. You want it kind of rubbly looking and crumbling. Break it off and get it kind of the shape you want, but you do want to make sure this is the bottom piece, that the base will be left the biggest area. You also want to leave room for you to play with here, because you're just going to have to put a little more extra work in, because what we want it to do is try to make it look a little more natural, and that like flat edge, like just giant lip there, isn't going to look natural. So we're going to try to put some angle to it. Now you can go through like this and break it off and kind of angle the edges. You're not going to do a very good job with that. But it's a viable option. You can see I'm kind of taking my finger and just kind of picking at it to get that angle. Honestly, the best thing you can do is use your knife, like I'm about to right now, and that is just go through and just kind of shave it off and crumble it, and get your knife in there and like pull it up, make it pop, and get kind of rough edges to it. You're just gonna want to kind of look like an incline, decline, however you want to look at it, where it's going from the floor of the building down into the ground level. To where it looks a little more natural, and you're going to start doing similar same things with around the edges of both sides, just kind of gradually grading it up into the floor area. And you want it to be that rough, look at that rough knife looks terrain, so when we go put our spackle on, which is a little surprise later on, it'll have some nice like area you can work with, and it'll make it look really rocky and awesome looking. So just take your time and go through here, careful, don't cut yourself, and just kind of cut it down to an edge. And so there you have it, after we have now shaved off a nice decline, incline, however you want to look at it. And then we're going to move on to making the second half of the building, the top part of the building. We're going to use the other corner piece, and we're going to start just breaking off, just like before, breaking off pieces. Now we are going to break off much larger pieces. This is twofold. One, because it's going to be narrow up top, so it's just going to look more natural. We're also going to make sure these pieces are larger, because we're going to use these nice big chunks, the big chunks, off to use it as the floor for the second / fourth floor of the building. And now you just make sure this is going to be smaller, and we're also going to have to go back, and you see me there looking at that nice indentation in some of those holes you can see. I try to get rid of those as much as possible during this process, but spackle will cover up a lot of that stuff too, so not too concerned. Now here I go, I'm going to line it up, and after I do this, I'm going to make sure that the corners are going to be more of a natural progression from where it left off from the bottom floor to second floor. You see how it's bigger up top. There I'm breaking it off so it looks like it's more of a natural, just kind of part of the building instead of weird like chunks. We're going to have more of a natural flow to it. I don't know. I'm not an architect. Somebody with architecty words could probably explain this better than I can, but I just wanted to look good, natural, crumbly, ruined building. So that's really my main goal here, is just kind of doing that. Okay, now that we have taken our knife and shaved it down to the incline, the kind of way we want it to look, nice rocky look that will be covered up with spackle, so that's fun. It's also a fun word to say. If you haven't seen my previous videos, you would know that. Anyway, we're going to be adding the second floor here, and we're going to be using one of the large chunks we had previously broken off from the second half of the building. If I told you to break those large chunks, And really, I highly suggest you measure this. Go get a miniature of some sort, whatever you're playing the game with, and measure it before you do this. Main thing you're trying to do now is just get the floor in between the two, build the two floors, the first floor and the third floor there, and kind of have it in between the two. And we're going to glue this down. We're going to glue it down with some just regular old PVA Elmer School glue, which you should be popping on the screen right about now. Anyway, yeah, and that itself is not going to be enough. I'll show you how to reinforce it in a little bit, but right now we're just concerned with getting the glue on. So we're going to take a paintbrush and we're going to paint it on the edge of the floor. After we've got the glue applied, we're just going to go and stick it down wherever it is you had previously marked. I did not, like, once again, I'm just eyeballing this. And of course, just PVA glue on foam is going to work, so we're going to have to reinforce it a little. So I've got these bamboo sticks. Normally I would just tell you to use toothpicks, but unfortunately I cannot find mine. But these bamboo sticks will work just fine. I'm just going to right off the bat here with the sharp end on one, break off the other, break off like just about a finger's length, 2-3 inches, and then I'm going to take some PVA glue and apply it onto the stick itself, and then shove it on in there for some support. And I'll do this multiple times using those bamboo sticks. Now I do realize that I just broke off the sharp end, so I'm going to have to go through with a knife and sharpen it, which is like a little extra effort. Had I just had toothpicks, I don't have to worry about that so much, but that is something I'm going to have to do. As you can see now, I'm actually about to take something and just kind of push it in instead of using my finger. I think I use the glue lid most of the time I'm doing this. Anything works. And just making sure that it's good and in there. And anyway, yep, I'll just fast forward through this next little bit, basically showing you the exact same thing I just did, except I'm going to be sharpening all these bamboo sticks to make them fit. And I'll be back with you in a second. Alright, now that I've got all that reinforced, now I'm going to do what I should have done before I actually did all that. I'm going to go back through and break off the extra bits of this floor. Definitely suggest doing this before this point, but whatever. I was just trying to be weird, I guess. It's fine. Anything imperfections will be covered up with a spackle, so I'm not really too concerned. You also don't need to worry so much about it having like a decline-incline area, but you do want it to kind of look just kind of gnarly and jagged and broken, because it has ruins. Alright, so now we're actually going to move on to the next part, which is connecting the top part to the bottom part, and it's going to be pretty similar to what we just did when we put in our second floor, except for now we're just going to be sharpening both ends of the stick with the glue and shoving them together. That's basically what's going to happen. But before we do that, we're going to take some PVA glue and we're just going to paint it all the way pretty thick across the top. Just like before, it won't be able to hold on its own. We're going to have to reinforcement with some sticks. So like I said, take some more bamboo sticks, cut off, sharpen up both sides, and we're going to shove these two sides together. And we'll be back when we're done. Now that we've got these two tied together, as you can see, it's not perfect. You're going to have to do some work with spackle to make it look better and more natural, and kind of doing some slight adjusting there with the glue before it dries. Now we're getting really close to being done. We've got the second floor and third floor. Now we really need the fourth floor. Now before we get to that, we're going to try to break off some more pieces of the top here. I know I don't want this to look flat. We're going to do a little more, because I'm going to want these miniatures on the top floor to kind of be able to hang over the edge with their gun, so it kind of have like the gun level. Once again, probably should measure all this before you do what I'm doing right now. And here I'm being smarter and actually breaking it apart before I glue it on. I don't have to do it later, but Anyway, yeah. So just once again, eyeballing it, I definitely would suggest measuring this with miniatures, whatever miniature you're playing with. It would definitely work out a lot better probably than what I'm doing now. And yep, same process as before. PVA glue and sticks, and we'll see when we're done. Now that we've gotten our piece on there, we're going to go ahead and start breaking off some of this top part. Like I said before, I want my weapons to kind of hang over the edge, and I want these to look more like a natural narrowness of the building as it's crumbling. So I know this can be too high for any kind of model standing with guns over right now, so I'll go ahead and break it off. And like I previously mentioned a few times now, measure, measure, measure. Don't just guess like me. Now I'm going to continue my stupid eyeballing ways and literally just eyeball straight lines down this building where I can cut windows. I am honestly not too concerned with everything being perfect because I know it's ruins. I'm not gonna have perfect sized windows or doors, but like previously, I would definitely suggest taking some rulers and doing this. Don't just eyeball like me. I'm kind of using this X-Acto knife to kind of cut where I want my windows to be, but once again, like, I'm not concerned about it leaving kind of permanent damage. Spackle doesn't cover anything I do up. This is really just kind of using a knife as a pin, which is probably not safe. So don't do like me. Be safe. Yeah, once I get kind of the idea of what I want, I'll take a hobby knife and cut it out a little more, permanent. Now I'm going to take and cut out the door, and you'll see the problem. One of the flaws with using this type of system to make buildings with the base of the floor basically being so thick, it really kind of becomes obvious when you do the doorways. You'll see in a second what I'm talking about, but I'm just going to cut out purposely what I've drawn, but I know for a fact I'm going to extend this much larger because I know what I want to do. See me coming inside and cutting the bottom because I want it to be as close to the bottom of that inside as I can. And then I'm going to turn around and expand this out. I want to push it the doorway all the way back to the edge of the wall. So it's going to take a little bit of carving away to level this out. And then once I do get it nice and straight and even, I'm going to have to take and cut this doorway down. You see me angling it down now, where I kind of have like an incline. Like I say, it's not going to be like one big flaw with this method is that you have this doorway is weird, so you kind of have this incline from like the table level up into the doorway, which isn't natural. If you were better than me, you could probably turn some steps into it. That's just not who I am. I know I've shaped way too much for those kind of details. Here I am extending the door out a little further so I can get closer to that wall and make it look just better. And like I say, I'm not really too concerned with everything being perfect, nice and neat and straight because I am showing you a method. And then two, I know I'm going to cover it with spackle, so it's going to be kind of rough looking anyway. And yeah, I would definitely go through at this point and just kind of cut out some more windows and doors. You see me there pointing to some spots. I'm not going to show you how to do all this. It's basically rinse and repeat at this point. You get the idea. Now, after you get all your windows and doors cut out and get everything kind of the way you want it, the next part is really just taking spackle, and what I do is literally just take my hand, scoop it in like that, and just lather it on. I'm not doing it right now because I haven't actually went through and cut all the windows and doors out. I'm going to do that off screen just so you're not staring at me work this whole time, and it's going to take a while to get all this stuff kind of the way I want it. But yeah, I just spread it around. Make sure you get it inside the windows and doors. Make sure you get it really thorough. There's that crack right there that separates the two parts, and I'm not concerned with the bottom so much. I know it's got the little, but I'm not concerned with it. But the bottoms of those other floors are definitely important. Make sure you get those. Now you're not going to get every little part to it, but try to get as much as you can, and you'll understand why in a little. Now this next part is optional. It's just a little extra something if you want it to look a little better. These are like these little flower arrangement wire things. I'm not sure exactly what they're called. I found them in a hobby store and I found a lot of use out of them. I'm just going to take a pair of wire cutters and I'm going to clip off a small area there. And I'm going to use these kind of like a rebar that's hanging out of the edge of the floor. And a cool technique with these guys is that they're threaded over the wire. And if you grab the thread the right way where you can leave just a little bit of thread, you see how it's coming off there? You leave like this spiral piece of wire still on there that looks more like a natural rebar. It's a cool little concept, and you could probably do it with a lot more effort than I do when I'm the painting process to make that stuff stand out. I didn't want to spend too much time on it tonight, but you get the concept of what I'm thinking there. Let's see if we can get a nice little close up here. You can kind of see that spiral piece of string that makes it look more like an actual rebar. I thought it was cool. Maybe you'll find use out of it.
Now all you're really going to do is just take that piece of rebar. I would suggest I put glue on it, but I'm just showing you how to do it. So glue, just put it in there and bend it to make it like it's kind of been messed up a little. You can actually use this stuff really cool to like connect different floor pieces, like a chunk of floor is hanging off. I've done that before too. Very useful. Now, once your spackle and all your rebar's in, spackle's dry and everything, you're going to take it outside and you're going to spray paint it with a flat black primer paint in one. And a natural thing that happens with styrofoam is that if the spray paint gets on it, it's going to melt, and it's going to be natural. Nothing you can do about it because there's no way you're going to get spackle everywhere, as I talked about before. Take as much as you can. Well, as you can see now, we have shown you the black paint. You're going to take regular black paint and you're going to go through and you're just going to fill in any large areas where there's lots of white from being melted by the spray paint. Because spray paint, where it was black there, but it will melt down. Now this is actually a really cool thing you can do with this, is that it'll make it look kind of a natural, like it's ruined and falling apart, so it's not like it's a terrible look. It actually makes it look really good. And I've used this method before to make really gnarly looking, like I use them for like Nurgle buildings, because I put Nurgle rot in there. Like the Nurgle rot was like destroying the buildings. I spray painted it several times. As you can see, better look. You can see like the porousness of the floors now from where that spray paint had dug into it and ate it away a little. I think it looks good. It's a nice concept, very useful. Now we're almost home free. So we've got our black. We're just worried about covering the most of the white spots. I'm not covering everything because it's just going to take too long. And honestly, the dry brushing will make it where you can't even notice it. We're going to take a dark gray. This is a pavement. I bought it from Walmart. It's like $1. I'm just going to take a dark gray, and I want to heavy dry brush with a thick brush, which you'll see here in just a second. Very old kind of thick brush there. Makeup brushes from Walmart, by the way. Cheap ones are the best things on the planet for this type of thing. I don't remember where I got that trick from, but it's very useful. You can just take this and heavy dry brush this dark gray all over this terrain. Do not hold back, do not worry. Honestly, you're not really even going to notice that it's happening while it's happening, unless you use a lot of it, but that's fine. You'll notice the end result. And while it may be quickly easy to just ignore this step and go straight to the next one, which is a light gray, highly suggest not doing that. Okay, alright, here I am. I'm about to take some of this paint and kind of dry brush it off. If you don't have dry brush, this is basically what you do. You take the brush, you dip it in the paint pretty heavy, and then you're going to take it on something. I just use this as an example, and you're going to brush away most of the paint. And then you're going to use what's left of that to just dry brush on. As you can see, I'm doing right here, where I'm just kind of flicking it across where I'm going to get all the top parts. We're not going to paint too deep into the crevices. We're just highlighting the stuff. This is a really super easy method way of painting to get a lot of detail out of your work. Okay, if you've never done it, highly suggest utilizing this method. Super easy. Anyway, I'm just going to do all this stuff off camera and we'll come back when I'm done. Alright, we've completely dry brushed the dark gray. As you can see, the gray starting to pop out a little. We're going to go now with a little lighter gray, and this is kind of a granite gray. Once again, just $1 paint from Walmart and another napkin. Same method, except now you're going to brush off more paint. You're going to have even less paint on the brush because you're doing a lighter dry brush now. I use the same brush. I thoroughly wiped it off, cleaned it off, and try to brush out the water as I can. I'm not too concerned because I don't care about great work. This is a freaking ruin anyway. Like I said, just brush off more of it, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to just dry brush it now. It was a little too much right there, so I just kind of get a little lighter and hit some of the edges where I want it to be brighter to kind of have like a highlight, but then as the paint gets knocked off more, I'll come back and do more thorough. Honestly, I'm not too concerned. Just the same method, just easier, just lighter, less paint. All right, and we'll come back to you when I'm done. And there you go. There's our building. We just finished with the light gray dry brush. I think it looks pretty good. You could do more. I usually try to throw some browns in there, just kind of mix up the color, but honestly, it's looking fine. And the actual painting part of it, you can kind of play with it as you want to kind of have different things. Now, there's a rebar still you can paint, and I definitely suggest using lead belcher for that, but you don't have to. Honestly, it's not a big deal. Use silver, whatever.
And there you have it, guys. Honestly, not super hard. A little time consuming waiting on things to kind of dry, but you know, you can make several of these at a time, and you can make different sizes. Those little corner pieces that I've used before several times, and I've kind of flipped them upside down to kind of have one part as the part I was using as the base as a roof. You can do that too, and to put a base on it. There's all kinds of things. Those things are extremely useful. If you run across them, save them. So useful. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this type of video where it was just terrain tutorials and even wargaming in general, any kind of tabletop game, we do a little bit of RPG. We're trying to get in some board games, stuff like that. Just give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, follow the videos. If you're interested in communicating with us, you can send some messages down below. Kind of give me some more ideas. Tell me what I did wrong. Tell me what I did right. Tell me what I don't, what you would do differently. I don't care. It's fine. We can have a conversation. You can also, there's a link to our Discord down below. You can click that, get access to our Discord. We're usually in there 24/7 talking to people, and you can join the conversation. We show this stuff as we're usually trying to go through the process of making it. Also, I'll put a link to all the stuff that I use for these videos, affiliate links, usually to Amazon. And you can click those links and buy the items themselves. Now, they are affiliate links, so we'll get a small portion of the proceeds that you pay for that. Like I said, it's very small, but every little bit we get helps, and we put it right back in the channel. And even if you don't want to buy that, you can click it, buy diapers, buy whatever, new video game, that's fine with us. I think you have like 24 hours there, and we can always still get a small proceed of whatever you purchase. And like I said, it all comes right back to the channel. Anyway, thanks for all your support. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.